Ever stop and wonder why your home is built the way it is? I mean, it's not just about style, right? Turns out where we live is shaped by these huge, kind of invisible forces: culture, history, and even the very materials we use. Today, we're going to deconstruct two totally different housing models: the classic American single family home versus the towering Chinese high rise apartment. All right, let's get into it. So, on one side, you've got that iconic American scene, these sprawling suburbs filled with wood frame houses, everyone with its own little slice of lawn. And on the other side, you have the skylines of modern China, these dense, vertical forests made of steel and concrete, where millions live in these massive, planned communities. They're both trying to solve the same basic need for shelter, but man, they could not be more different. And when you look at the numbers, the difference is just staggering. In the United States, a massive 65% of homes are those detached, single-family houses. But in urban China, the whole thing flips on its head. Over 90% of people live in apartments or condos. Now, this isn't just a small preference. It's a fundamental divide in how two of the world's biggest powers build their societies. So the big question is, why? To really get to the bottom of this, we've got to first understand what a home even means in each culture, because it's so much more than a roof over your head. It's really about space, about status, and about your place in society. You know, in the US, there's this classic path, this housing ladder. You usually start out renting an apartment, right? Then maybe you move up to a townhouse or a condo. But the end goal, the thing that really screams, "I've made it," is owning that single family home, that private yard, the two-car garage. That whole image is just baked into the American dream and the idea of middle-class success. But in China, the status equation is totally different. In a world that's so dense, it's not about having your own detached house. It's all about location. What school district are you in? And then it's about the quality of your gated community, your xiaoqiu. A standalone house or a villa isn't some middle-class goal. It's an ultra-rare symbol of serious elite wealth, and it's kept that way by government policy. And these cultural differences, they go all the way down to the very bones of the house itself. So let's peel back another layer and look at the material truth of it all: wood versus concrete. You know, we tend to think of American houses as being pretty solid, but here's a question that gets at a really hidden problem. Why are so many of our modern homes so surprisingly vulnerable to things like pests, water, and wind? Well, here's the wild part. The wood itself has totally changed. See, homes built before the 1940s used old-growth lumber, which was dense, super strong, and naturally fought off rot. The houses we build today, they use new-growth lumber from tree farms. It grows way faster, which means it's weaker, more absorbent, and, as our source material puts it, literally the perfect food for termites. Okay, so if the wood we use today is so flawed, then concrete must be the perfect answer, right? Just build everything out of concrete. Well, it's not quite that simple. And this leads us to this really fascinating idea called the building short life paradox. The concrete itself, yeah, it's incredibly durable. It'll last forever. But because of some lower construction standards in the past, and this is the key, because they buried the plumbing and electrical lines directly inside the concrete, a lot of these buildings only have a functional lifespan of 30 to 40 years. Once those pipes buried in the walls start to fail, fixing them is basically impossible, and the building is at risk of becoming a vertical slum. So all of this brings us to the real heart of the issue. It's not about which material is just better. It's about understanding the real long-term cost of owning a home. And that's where this crucial concept comes in: life cycle cost, or LCC. This forces you to look way beyond that initial price tag. It's the total cost of owning the home, which includes everything you're going to spend down the line, on maintenance, on your energy bills, on insurance, and all those repairs that you know are coming. And when you actually compare them this way, the numbers are pretty shocking. Over a 50-year period, a typical wood frame house needs constant work: repainting, replacing siding, you name it. There's a high risk of super expensive termite damage, and it's just way more vulnerable in a disaster. A concrete structure, on the other hand, has dramatically lower costs in pretty much every single one of those categories. And it's not just about repairs. Get this: a well-built concrete home can also save you a whopping 30 to 50% on your energy bills. That is real money back in your pocket every single month for decades. So, we've laid out the weaknesses of both the standard American wood house and the standard Chinese concrete apartment. The question is there a better way to do it? And the answer is a big yes. It's about building a stronger, smarter home right from the very start.
It's a technology called insulated concrete forms, or ICF. Now, the easiest way to think about it is like giant, hollow Lego blocks made of foam insulation. You stack them up to build the walls of the house, and then you fill that hollow core with steel-reinforced concrete. What you get is the absolute best of both worlds, the incredible strength of concrete combined with amazing continuous insulation.
And the benefits are just unreal. We're talking about homes that can resist winds over 250 miles per hour. They slash your energy bills. They're naturally pest-proof because, hey, there's no wood for termites to eat. They're incredibly quiet. And, as we've already seen, they have super low maintenance costs over the long run. It basically solves the biggest problems of both traditional building methods. Okay, so this ICF technology sounds amazing, but how in the world do you actually find one of these homes? I mean, they're not exactly mainstream yet, so you've got to get a little creative. Let's get practical. All right, for all you house hunters in the US, here's what you do. Start by going to the real estate websites and searching for keywords like ICF or concrete block. Here's a pro tip. When you're looking at photos, look for a visual clue, really deep window sills. That's a huge giveaway that the walls are super thick and solid. But honestly, the best strategy is to find the builder first. Call up some local ICF installers and just ask them for leads on builders they work with. Now in China, the opportunities look a little different. Out in the rural areas where people can build their own homes, a lot of them are using these EPS modules. They're foam blocks you stack and plaster over. It's a similar idea to ICF, and it's really popular and affordable. In the big cities, your best bet is to look for those high-end projects built after 2015. That's when higher energy standards and better quality control really started to kick in. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this really powerful idea from our source material. In a turbulent era, with everything from extreme weather to economic uncertainty, a solid, durable home isn't just a place to live. It's your last line of defense for protecting your family's wealth. So I'll just leave you with this final question to think about. The way we choose to build our homes is a choice. So, is your home, or the one you're dreaming about, built for the world of yesterday, or is it truly ready for the reality of tomorrow?